Hello and welcome everyone to our latest Agile Boston podcast. I am Joe DeAngelis, and I am very happy to welcome two special guests, Matthew Jacobs and Alyssa Layden, who are from Scrum Inc. and they are going to be presenting at this month's Agile Boston virtual meetup. So welcome Matthew and Alyssa.
Thanks for having us, Joe. Appreciate the time today.
Yeah, excited to get started.
Awesome. So, Matt and Melissa, again, thank you very much for accepting our invitation to present it this month. I am really excited about what you're going to be talking about, harnessing AI for Agile success. There's been a lot of talk about AI in the industry and how it's impacting so much of our lives these days. But before we get into that, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Matt Jacobs. I'm the chief product owner of the consulting business at Scrum Inc. Really, what we're focused on at Scrum Inc. is helping organizations adopt enterprise agility and deliver their products in the most effective way possible. So that's all the way from working to the teams to working at the system level that the teams exist in. My actual journey with agility, and this is where I find the topic of artificial intelligence and AI really interesting, was I was helping an organization set up their artificial intelligence lab. And that's where I actually first learned about Scrum, most specifically, because we had a difficult problem. We had a significant amount of work coming in. We had to bring together business people, technologists, data scientists, software engineers, and figure out how to get them to work together to solve customer problems really quickly and also quickly stop any projects that we didn't have any legs. So it's really interesting now to look at this the other way around is we use Scrum to solve AI problems. And now part of this topic is the inverse of that. How can actual AI help bring enterprise agility to life? So really excited about this topic because I feel like it brings a complete circle on this topic for me.
That's a really great description, and we're even more excited now about the topic. Alyssa, how about you?
Well, I hope the excitement continues. Sure. So my name is Alyssa Layden. I am a self-proclaimed Agile marketer with a little over 8 years of experience in the Scrum and Agile space. I like to say that my history is a bit unique, but apparently, so does everybody else. So I started my career at a very small lean startup in Boulder, Colorado. And from there, I was introduced to the Scrum training and education space. And the reason that was unique was because I was kind of thrown into this ecosystem where I had to learn Scrum and I had to do Scrum while also selling Scrum. And that kind of has kickstarted, the last 8 years of my life. Right now at Scrum Inc., I am primarily responsible for generating demand for the consulting services that Matt just referenced. And I'm excited because I think I bring a bit of a different perspective. In the last 2 years specifically, AI has greatly impacted my role, my, backlog items in terms of marketing, communications, and sales. And so, I've taken a very special interest in understanding how AI will impact our own products and services, how it will accelerate us, how it will make our work greater, but also looking at like AI tools, building AI tools that will help our community at large to support, our training and consulting efforts.
Now, that's really great. And let's get into a little bit this great topic of harnessing AI for agile success. Like, what are some of the key things you want to cover in that presentation?
I think where we'd also like where we'll start that conversation is dissecting that into the two separate topics, which I think get intermixed. One talking about how Agile supports AI and talking about why actually the age of AI is going to make agility even more important and more relevant. And then second, turning it around and like, if that's true, also how does Agile make AI better? So I think how AI
Makes
makes Agile better.
Makes Agile better.
a lot of
Yeah.
A's.
So talking about both sides of this problem, because I think there's slightly different answers to both, and separating them to make sure we have more coherent kind of conversations. And I think Alyssa, with her developing AI product to make AI better, brings it totally full circle.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah, a lot of AIs, a lot of circles that that Matt mentioned, but I think what I'm most excited about diving into even further in the session is really demystifying this idea. You know, Joe, you had mentioned this at the start of the call, like we're seeing a lot of thought leadership around the impact of AI. AI is dramatically changing the professional landscape or
Mm.
organizations, individuals, but there's not a lot of resources I found myself in like the practical application of that. And it's kind of a fuel that's going on the fire is this layer of fear, right? Job
Yeah.
security, you know, not being able to stay on top of AI news and updates and new tools. And so it's kind of like the perfect storm. There's a couple of different lenses we'll take at the end of the month.
Yeah, and I also Dr. Sutherland has talked a lot about incorporating AI into Scrum teams. He's
Mm.
talked about AI listening to retrospectives and offering teams options on what to do to improve themselves. AI using AI to break down work and even estimate work. So taking some of the tedious things that teams do out of their hands so they can focus on the really important things like building better product and better
Well,
solutions. Are you going to be covering any of that, you think, in your presentation?
for sure. And I think this builds on a separate topic that we talked about briefly even before we started this podcast of what is the next generation Scrum Master?
Yeah.
Mm.
A lot of the way we think about it is a Scrum Master is a team level COO, and a Scrum Master at the scaled level is a group COO. They're looking to drive organizational effectiveness. To me, if you're spending all of your time facilitating meetings, doing all this blocking and tackling procedural stuff, that human element gets lost in where you can really add value. So as we look at the next generation Scrum Master to be more value oriented, more effective oriented, really driving the effectiveness of the system, you see this nice overlap with kind of the AI tools coming in because they're going to remove a lot of that facilitation, which should free the Scrum Master to do more higher level activities, which will help the Scrum Master role be more valuable. See some fear from Scrum Masters who are really looking at Scrum Mastery as a procedural role. Like, how do I ensure people follow process? Well, those people will be in a little bit of trouble, but they already are today. The
Right.
new focus is like, how do we add further value to drive team effectiveness? And the AI will make that easier to do if you look at how to leverage it and bring it into the team. So I think those two topics are highly linked at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to hear that because ever since Jeff has been talking about it, there's been a lot of buzz around how do you do that? How do you do that? Who's doing that right now? So now we've got two great people here that have done it and can show us how to do it a little bit. So if you're attending this presentation, what can people expect to take away that maybe they can try the next day at their own jobs?
Mm, interesting. So I do think that Matt brings a bit of that higher level theory, you know, focus, really thinking about the operating model of an organization, the impact on the roles and how this will change, you know, work at large. I think that my strength, and mostly because of my role at Scrum Inc. and what I've been focused on, is in those practical applications. And, you know, something I hope that at the end of our session, at least I can bring is the practical application, uh, depending on where you're at in your journey. Something that we hear from our clients a lot is that, you know, there's two sides to this spectrum. There's AI geniuses, kind of like Dr. Sutherland, who are taking AI to the moon and are like, I have my
Getting booked with
autonomous
it.
agent. Yeah, yeah. And that's really scary. It's very overwhelming, right? Like, it's easy to feel behind. And then we have, the other side of the spectrum, which is I think I know how to use ChatGPT. I get annoyed at it. It's not perfect. I don't know where to go from there. Like I need prompts that help me as a Scrum Master, as a product owner. I need to be able to use these AI tools, but I just don't know where to start. And I like to think that I represent like, kind of that side of the spectrum and the getting started and the practical applications. Not to give too much, but something I think we would love to talk about, something I would love to talk about is, my own team a year and a half ago, we looked at our work and we used our own agile process and our own agile thinking to kind of tackle where to implement and build AI automations or introduce AI intelligence, right? We did a value mapping exercise and we looked at things that were really high value but low complexity, and we introduced automations or generative text in certain areas. So I think that as much as Matt will talk about the theory and the overwhelming aspects, I can combine that with the practical application and bringing it down to earth.
Perfect storm. Perfect
Yeah.
storm.
You call out a really important part that I think organizations are struggling with today. The question isn't where am I using AI? That's putting the tool in front of the problem. It's
Mm,
where am I having organizational difficulties? Where do I have opportunities to do something different? And then asking, does this tool help give us a solution? So my feedback to every team, to every component of the org, is to always start with the why, just like an agile practice would start. And all right, what is the problem? What's the cost of that problem? And then testing the hypothesis that AI may be able to help with this problem, and then quickly experimenting and running through with that. So if you don't know where to start, look at where you're struggling today, things that are
yeah.
not adding value to your customer and to your delivery process, and then just pausing, would AI help with this? Part of that continuous improvement loop at the organization and team level is just not being happy with the current state and thinking, can I do this better? So it just becomes part of the team level retrospective or the organizational continuous improvement loop of could this make this component better? Where we're having this inefficiency today or taking up too much time and effort, we're not getting the value out of something that we think we could be able to. So start with the problem, don't start with the solution.
Yeah, that's great advice. And somewhere out there, Simon Sinek is very, very happy to hear start with
Yeah.
that.
You've done well on
But
the
he's
podcast
still
front,
right.
so
Yeah,
usually
yeah,
not a bad model
definitely.
to follow.
Did he slip you a little cash before? All right. Well,
Uh,
this sounds like it's going to be an awesome presentation. And I'm wondering if 1 hour is going to be enough. We might have to invite you back for a second one at some point this year as well. So again, everyone, Matthew and Alyssa will be presenting on March 26th at noon Eastern Time for our Agile Boston March virtual event. And we are super excited about having you here. So thank you again for accepting our invitation. We can't wait for your presentation.
awesome. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Excited.
Looking
Yeah,
forward
Until
to it.
then, we'll see you guys real soon. Take care.
awesome.
Bye.
Bye.